morning, Nigeria. Welcome to Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike. We kick off today with our newspapers, and right after that will be our main conversation also. Please do well to be part of what we do have a say in. What we say you can always find and reach us right here on Enterprise Television when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com, and equally you may like, comment and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're very so honored to have with us right here in our studios Innocent Adulugba, journalist, public affairs analyst. Innocent, good morning.
Yeah, it's a bright day today, Henry, and you are looking very dapper.
Well, I can complain.
You dare not. Many people would like to swap roles with you.
That's great, that's good. Of course, today is a beautiful day, and we hope that we would, of course, have a very great conversation on issues coming from our newspapers. And interestingly, I would love us to start off with the Guardian newspaper for today. And the big story we have: autonomy, universities, that is universities, fume as federal government fixes 150 cut-off mark, 16 years admission age for students. Innocent, let's start from there before we get into other matters. Would we say that the JAMB and are trying to maybe make clean themselves after the last saga, the very humiliating one that they had with the mass failure of students? Maybe they're trying to repair a lost damage on their reputation. Do you think this is a very good one?
Well, it's neither here nor there to me. When you say 150
yes.
out of 400,
yes,
because you take 4 courses for JAM,
yeah,
each is over 100. And so when you do 150 over 400, are we upholding standard? Are we increasing, or are we getting deficient? So it's a mixed bag. I would say out of 400, we should have reached the halfway mark.
200.
Exactly, because it means for 400 marks being competed for, 200 got lost, but at least you could hold 50%.
But the truth of the matter is, the last results that we had coming from JAMB, there were mass failure. Lots of people didn't even get up to 200. In fact, when it was revisited yet again, people didn't even score past 200. Lots of people didn't score past 200. So don't you think this is a remedial manner to maybe stop people from killing themselves? Remember the young lady that killed herself because she scored below the mark that she was supposed to.
I have 2 opinions, and my opinions are not popular. One, not everybody has to go to school with regards to tertiary education. So if there was mass failure and objectively, all things being equal, the failure was from the academics, those who fail should try again.
Well, I don't think it was because of academics, actually. It was because of the lopsidedness of JAMB.
If it's from, that's one leg. If it's from inefficiency of the
part of
academy managers, they should buckle. I'm still surprised that, I don't know if it's I'm still dreaming, that Dr. Alausa and remains education minister.
Very
and
true.
Professor Ishak remains, is it director?
JAMB
registrar.
Yeah, JAMB registrar.
I'm surprised. If we're in a country of over 200 million people, and like you said, we're coming from the back of some of these discrepancies, and we've already tried them. The country is brimming with people. Try others. Then 2, my second opinion is not popular. It's even worse. JAMB should be scrapped.
So what should replace it?
Nothing.
Nothing should replace it. So how do you gauge people? How do you gauge students who intend to get into universities?
Oh, we just go universal.
How do you mean?
From where you sit, you can apply to any school in the UK or in the US. They don't need a central psychomotor system to have you admitted. In this same country, in the days we were churning out global champions like Chino Achebe, Professor Wole Soyinka, there were no JAMB. You take your secondary school credentials, apply to the university of your choice, you meet the admission criteria of that school, in you go.
But don't you think there's need to compensate the educationally backward states in Nigeria, where you don't see lots of people interested in going to school, where you have a large pool of children out of school? Maybe this could be the only best way to have a crisscross of those people attending elite schools in other regions of the country.
Two things. One, you don't compensate by lowering standard.
So how do you now
That's
take
not
care of?
compensation.
So how do you now take care of the deficiency in that other part of the region?
Secondly, whoever campaigns to be a governor translates to be a manager. Every governor in Nigeria is a manager of the resources within their territory, the population they find themselves. And I don't know if I should put it like this. In 2025, Nigeria should be ashamed to have states we still point at as educationally less developed, who in over 25 years have been receiving buffer monies to change this name. Can we audit some of these monies? How much have such states been receiving versus impact? So we know what should stay and what should go. This is we are in the AI age. There is no excuse for any part of this country to proudly tag themselves educationally less developed, and we just go to sleep comfortably. So for me, if there is ATBU in Bauchi, yes, they should have their admission standards to the extent of what they think is integral in upholding the standard of that school. So
they can as much lower their standards to such they can accommodate people.
I said to the extent of what they find integral to upholding standard in that school. If there is a school in Ilori, Unilori, have your standard. Look, the federal government is getting petty. The federal government should bother with issues that are top-notch: currency, defense, customs. You can't go to police school at the level of universities in state capitals. This over-centralization is the bane, and people who wrote exams from JSS1 till SS3 past WAEC are encouraged to score 150 over 400 and be certified. That is backward progress. If you and I pass through such, we won't be eligible or qualified to sit at a table like this.
Very true.
And dish out our job. So I think Dr.
Tunji Alausa,
I don't know who were consulted, and then what was the set out objective of this kind of announcement. And that's why I came from behind. I said, not everybody need to get tertiary education. Listen, Henry.
Yes.
The KFCs, you know.
Yes.
They didn't get tertiary education. Is it Elon Musk or what?
Elon Musk, yeah.
But they have the capacity in their business adventures and endeavors to hire you and I who are educated. What if we forced them to go and pass one exam with this? So Nigeria should not boast with the number of people who get admitted into tertiary institutions or the number of people that eventually graduate. We should boast with what sectors of the economy, whatever they are thriving, that people coming out of school fit in. Somebody can have what we call fashion designing shop, who never was educated in the four walls of university. After my MSc at Unilag,
yes,
I called on one of my classmates, and he told me that he is ashamed to tell me what he is doing now. His secondary school mate at WAEC, who didn't go for undergraduate or masters, is who he who had a BSc and MSc went to as an apprentice at 35 years old. He was preparing to get married. And this is classmate whom they mocked. You know, sometimes because we are fluent in English in class, those who can't speak the grammar, we mock them, we laugh at them. That man with his muddled grammar had over 5 shops of fashion designing, has a pool of over 30 employees. has over 4 buildings as a landlord. And our guy, there is a tape my father used to play for me, this turntable, story of Okada. You know, Okada, sorry, oh Okada. I didn't know it would resonate on this table. And that, with due respect to my friend, but for the purpose of this analysis, was going empty-handed as an apprentice. So when I say not everybody needs to be it's not derogatory.
Yeah.
People are meant, after some basics of education, to find their path in life. And look, that same man is turning around to become an employer. So we shouldn't, in this myopism, lower like everybody. If you look, it's in the absence of what to do. Nigerians are using educational routes out of the country. The country you are going to are industrialized. The United Kingdom, England is industrialized. Canada is industrialized.
In fact, I came across,
America is industrialized. But our people getting there find that the system accommodates different type of factory menial jobs. So to survive, we carry the Nigerian education syndrome, and we are going there for. And look, the basic there is labor. Bring out your service in labor, get your wage, and pay your bills.
Very, very true. And this coincides to a viral video on TikTok that I watched just minutes before we started the show. A young Nigerian lady who is doing her master's in the UK said in her class that there were about 50 of them. About 45 were Africans.
Or immigrants.
Immigrants, right? A little bit of just about 2 that were from the UK. And they all wondered why UK citizens refuse or deliberately refuse to go to school, only for them to understand that these people were more preoccupied in service-oriented jobs, like, you know, going for vocational jobs here and there. And when those who eventually finish their masters, they come under these same people who didn't even go to school, because these other people become supervisors to these other people. So I guess it's a very big call. Just like you did say, one will still wonder why Tunji Alausa, you know, he's been decorated by Bola Tinubu with CON or something. One of those
for achieving
nothing, because we still complain why he is still there. He doesn't really truly understand. He's more emotional than being pragmatic with the duty and the responsibility he has as an educational minister. Doctor,
Henry,
focusing on education. One would wonder why this is
in my 40s. But I remember one education minister, and he doesn't know me, I don't know him. Professor Babs Fafunwa.
Okay.
And I was in primary school at the time. This is an education minister serving under the military government. I remember him. His name resonates throughout my life. What would Dr. Tunji Alausa be remembered for? What would he be remembered for? I'm not here to put him on a scale, but this kind of policy and announcement, you can see that the custodians of the academics, the dons in the universities, are not pleased
with what is happening, because that will debase
that's my point.
The system of education which he passed through from the University of Lagos before he made it to the United States.
So somebody who gets award as the best JAMB student now, over 400, maybe you have 390, you have 370. That means you are qualified to distribute your surplus to people because it's just 150 of your score that validates your passage. You know,
because we used to remember back in the days, you know, just to get into reading medicine and surgery, you have to be up there. You need to score.
So with 150 now,
you can readily,
and then God forbid,
medicine and surgery,
you allow quacks in.
Very so sad. But let's take a look at other matters here. This time around, innocent, let's crisscross out of the country. Although we're still within, the story is actually within Nigeria, but it depends on what we have outside. U.S. halt multiple entry visa for Nigerians, reduces validity to 3 months. Some people would say in local, parlance, see finish. The United States have they've seen enough of us, and they feel we can't do anything. So for non-immigrants, you can only have entry for once in 3 months. And there are so many things now. They need to go through your data. They need to go through your social media handle to see if you had at one point insulted Donald Trump. And if you've done that, it means there no entry to the United States and so many other Herculean tasks. Do you think at this point, Nigerians should really be bothered about some of those things? Or is it necessary?
You know, Nigeria is the giant of Africa, or self-acclaimed. I want to worry a little. Is this equivalent to the treatment meted out to Egyptians?
Exactly.
Who are Africans?
Or Saudi Arabians?
No, you are going to Asia. Or Ethiopians, or Kenyans, or Moroccans, Ivorians, South Africans. Is this a kind of treatment meted out to them? So that we want to know if the giant status we claim is respected or otherwise.
Or mere mirage.
You know, it's alarming. True, it's a good treatment for Nigeria. Before I go there, I would like to ask, when you apply for visa, are there bills, are there fees paid?
Definitely.
So the Americans should begin to respect Nigeria judiciously. Or the Nigerian government with this should have a reprisal policy. So if your visa charge for application is 150,000,
yes,
and 10 people apply, 2 people made it, those who don't make it, you will do them a 40% refund. Yes, we can't just be contributing to something as good as an American cooperative society. It's attractive. People apply in droves, Henry.
Yes.
If you go to the embassy, you could lose a pair of your shoes. It's a beehive of a madding crowd.
Yeah.
So if I apply and go through, if I don't, you do some refund because you are a rich country operating in a poor country. So if the people of this country can't make it, do them a refund. Do them a refund so that because the administrative process didn't go full cycle, they take something back. But I said it's a good treatment for Nigeria because once upon a time, Henry, look, just 2004, I was at the University of Lagos as a student at Yaba. I bought a book by James Hadley Chase. And behind, it reads, the price, it was ₦1 for that book,
yes,
but it was $2. So the naira was twice powerful than the dollar.
Really?
Not in 2004. That's when I bought the book.
Yes.
In the 80s now, when that book, was written.
Released, yes.
I don't believe at that time the Americans would talk to Nigerians like this. I don't think so. In that same 2004, a friend of mine asked me to go vouch for him. I was one of these petty excos in school. And I took his papers to the Dean of Student Affairs. About a year later, I was a copper. And one day, someone just parked the car. The driver's mirror hit me. I was going to scream. He came out and just jumped on me. Hey, Innocent, how are you? That he just came back from the UK. That thing I did for him. I asked him. He said, no, he didn't need a visa. In 2004. Me who helped him. I've not, maybe my abroad is at Cotonou for now. You know. So, but he has gone. Look at the regards of Nigeria as it dwindles year on year, brother. So, these kind of messages, Nuhu Ribadu says, when you are denied such visa, you look inward and see how you can develop your country, let people also struggle to come in. It's a shame, but I would think, if you ask me, I would think that one, there should be a government policy where if people are applying and they don't go through, yes, you do them some refund. Then two, well, if you can't get there, develop in this Africa, Henry.
Yes.
Many countries are cashing in from tourism. People just want to go to Kenya. People want to go to Botswana and watch animals at the Okavango Delta. Not human beings, wildlife. People want to go to Ethiopia. Egypt has preserved their rich historical culture. People want to see the pyramids. What do we have that people would like to come here and see? And then at that time, we take the vocabulary of Chris Daniel and we booga in return. What is our bargaining chip as a country that can show up the respect and prestige to be called a Nigerian wherever you are? Because as we sit here, the world is still respecting our dead patriot, Chinua Achebe. He's a Nigerian. The world is still respecting a living legend, Chimamanda Adichie. These are Nigerians. Now, when you come into the country that they are from, what is our bargaining chip? Those are what we should look at. We shouldn't criticize. I don't want us to criticize any country that debases us. They are a sovereign state. We are a sovereign state. They have population. Those are the characteristics of a state. There is boundary. There is territory. There is population. There is government. And so we are all equal on planet Earth. Yes, one country more powerful than the other. But how big? Rwanda is the size of Niger State. Yes. Everybody wants to go there. To Rwanda. Yeah. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I beg you, you are on the threshold of history. You, your team, your tourism ministers and everybody, I beg you, set us on the path of respect. Let the world also respect the humanity in Nigerians. Very true, Innocent. It's very sad at the same time emotional that in Nigeria, for those that apply for B1, B2 visas in the U.S. Embassy, either in Lagos or Abuja, we have the statistics here. About 5 million Nigerians apply every year at $160 you can imagine.
per entry, non-refundable. So, and it's been said that the U.S. Embassy makes between 4.5 billion and 8 billion naira every year from excesses coming from that
basket.
Yes, and some
Nigerians borrow to go and apply. So we are being milked. That's why I said, are we contributing to something like an American cooperative society? If I put $160 and the admission does not go through, you do me a rebate. I mean, what have you spent on me? I just filled forms, sat and was interviewed.
And the Nigerian government has that authority, isn't it, to go on that discussion or conversation of telling the U.S. Embassy, our people are applying, when they don't get it, give them back their money, or maybe take a percentage.
Not give them back.
Take a percentage.
Services have been rendered. I said, return 40%.
Yes.
Take the 60. Yes. Take the 60. But give us a rebate so I can be consoled even to apply again. With some of this buffer, all I need to do is stop it when applying again, not to start from the scratch.
It's on the scratch again. But of course, we have no choice, and since it is the golden the goose that lays the golden egg, we have no choice but to keep applying, even if it's coming from money that should circulate in the economy. Is what we dole out to foreign organizations and institutions.
And then we go back to them. They tell us they give us
loans.
Aid. Yes. No, aid. Aids that come with stringent conditionalities. That 4.1 million you said billion
yes,
can come back to Nigeria as aid. It's money from our stable
that we all contribute.
We get it back as aid. We're
excited and happy. Well, very sad reality. But from one story, especially our dealings with international institutions, to another. With the Vanguard newspaper, we have the big story. Federal government battles IMF over report on inflation. Innocent, hear this, and it's coming on the rider. Worries that such statement can turn the people against the government. In a report by IMF, it said that the Nigerian government should increase on creating more domestic revenue, increase taxes, and ensure that Nigeria is well off. But at the same time, contrarily, is equally saying that as a result of all of those policies, it has caused more people to be poor. And Nigerians or the Nigerian government are angry. Their statement is might raise up uprising.
Are the IMF, are they speaking facts?
Well, they're going by the data that they have.
If they are speaking facts, this government should learn to be universally tolerant. You don't fight facts. The other day, the copper, the
Rai.
Uguamaye,
The Rai.
the
Rai.
yes, said is Ibejuleki has some inhospitable stench. Everybody jumped up. You don't fight where people are speaking facts. 2, it is a fact that Nigerians are more taxed now than ever. The other day I was going to pay for something, and I asked my elder brother to send 5,000 naira for me. He did, and I gave the POS. They point 5,000. My account was at the floor level.
Yes.
The machine said my money was not up to 5,000. I was shouting, no, look, I just got a 5,000. The taxing system had removed.
So it was below the 5,000.
From somebody who is, let me use the word, at that time I was nothing but at the mercy of whoever. Look at where tax means. If you buy units for your phone, whatever the network,
yes,
the tax is waiting for you there. I don't know where, and I don't. So there are people who just get 100 naira to buy that unit and call somebody to say, help me. You have taxed that money. So the taxed now, the atmosphere is tensed, is thick enough to lean on.
And IMF is asking them to do more. That is not enough.
You see, I don't know how to speak in between the gap. So I will say it's a shame.
On whose part?
On the government of Nigeria. It's a shame on all governors. It's a shame on the presidency. About a month or 2 ago, we hear governors clamoring that the presidency was going to distribute tractors. And I said, it's a bigger shame. So a governor cannot afford tractors. Tractors, Henry, must come from Abuja. We are in the season of that nomenclature, food inflation. How do you combat food inflation? In Nigeria today, it's true. You combat insecurity so farmers can go to farm, and you depopulate the IDP camps, let farmers return. Then you give them tractor. So if food is in short supply, and we don't need to go farming with hoe and cutlass, we won't do much.
Yes.
Let's take the route of mechanization. So it's a shame, Henry. The land that made Nigeria a global power in economy are still there. What are on it?
Very fertile.
What are on it? What are on the land? The land that gave Nigeria massive cocoa, that gave Nigeria, I've watched as a little boy in primary school, I've watched the news with my father in 1990. I saw with my eyes pyramids of soya beans and Benny seed in Benue. Soya beans and Benny seed. I saw of groundnut in Kanu. Are the Kanu lands, are they rug or mat? Have we rolled them and taken them away? What we hear now are myths from Kanu about the population, block votes. What of the sustainability factors? What we hear from Benue now are harvest of killings by killer Fulani headsmen. What of the productive side? And now it's a sad period to be a graduate. As soon as you graduate, you run from wherever you are to Abuja or Lagos or Port Harcourt, and you get a job by sitting in front of a laptop. These clothes we are wearing is imported. The undies, they are imported. If Nigeria has a population that we have now, over 200 million, one source of big economy is clothing. Do we have textiles running? Do we? So you can have cotton farms. There are farmers. They don't need to go to tertiary institution, like I've said, but they can farm. They farm your cotton. Insecticides and all of them. There are people who have trucks. Their job as middlemen is to convey your harvested cotton to the industries. They don't need a degree.
Unfortunately, Innocent Adulugba, universities of agriculture that we have, it's neither they don't know why the name was even, coined as the universities of agriculture, because it is no longer looking like a university of agriculture where research is supposed to be carried out on efficient farming.
University of Agriculture and name. Children who have no aspiration for agriculture still apply there for JAMB. You see, back to my topic or my point, my position is universities of agriculture receive WAEC results from agricultural-minded inclined students and grade them and send them to their classrooms. You don't need to pass through Abuja's JAMB. Why are we so monitored? Why is it said in, I'm sorry to say, I don't want to name a state, but there is these states in the south, they will tell you monitoring spirit. That's what JAMB has become. It's a monitoring spirit. You take your results. Oh, you want to be an agriculturist, agricultural economics, agricultural extension, livestock, fishery, whatever. If we took care of this as a priority, even the people carrying their cattle and damaging people's farm by now would have been settled where they should be. Because such initiatives that will emanate from Abeokuta, where you have a Federal University of Agriculture, or Makurdi, where you have a Federal University of, or wherever else. So, I don't know. You say one topic, you overlap, and it looks like one is not you just say one, and it spills over to lamentation.
It's actually very crazy, and very so sad that we're saying some of these things, because these are not rocket science. These things can be solved, they can be resolved, they can be taken care of. If so sometimes I ask myself, if we had leaders from the Asian tiger come copy and paste on our leaders here, do you think they would see good results? Or is it a systemic problem that even if great leaders from Asia, let's say Singapore and China, come and replace our leaders here, would they still have the same results that we are currently having? Because the people themselves are bad, or is it a leadership problem?
I'm sorry to disappoint you. People who can turn Nigeria around are plenty in Nigeria.
Already?
Oh, yes.
So we don't need to import leaders?
No, you don't. The trouble is, the route for such people to emerge as political leaders is fraught with thorns that choke them.
Created by whom?
The political system. The political culture. If I would like to buy tractors for people when I'm in government as a governor, how much is the cost of the form for governor in PDP and in APC, the current big parties? How much? Do I have it? Must form be that expensive?
Just to serve your people?
Yes. So the person buying that is already putting money where she expects ROI. It's an investment. There must be returns.
A little wonder we would see governors hoping to defect because they want to connect to the center. They want to save their political career, and they feel that the only way they can manage their state, a sovereign state, is getting connected to the center. Very sad reality, but that's just about the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. And just to let you know that Innocent Adulugba would be here to take us on our main conversation. That is when we return. David Mark denies ADC, when we return. Okay, I'm trying to get it now. 2027 presidency. David Mark cautions Atiku Obi as federal government slams coalition chief. That's in the Beat Still Enterprise Morning. Please don't go anywhere.